Good morning, everyone. Texas fans and the Georgia fans that are sure to show up as well. Hope you guys are having a wonderful day so far. On today's show, y'all, we are going to be talking about, of course, the Georgia loss that happened this weekend, Texas offensive woes, also big recruiting weekend, right? Fans kind of freak out like no one's going to commit anymore. That's generally not how it goes. They wanted to make sure we could sell the fight, and the ambiance was there, and we were able to sell the fight. And then also your questions. You guys can take us off course at any point. I'm sure you guys will do so. All right, gentlemen. So, yeah, that was rough. So I was bummed, right? Because we brought the whole world out, it seems, and then to have that performance kind of sucked. But as far as like the off-field stuff, man, shouts out to the administration to be able to put on a show like that. Of course, you want to actually handle it on the field, but just logistically, man, super impressive. What do you guys think about the ambiance opposed to what actually occurred on the field?
Hey, man, it was a great day. I mean, you know what? It's still a great day. The loss hurt, but to me, the overall day, even with the game in mind, it was a great day. How many home games do they get a year? How many home games a century do they get as big as that? The atmosphere was great. Everything came off without a hitch. I appreciate those that came to the tailgate. That was also
– Oh, yeah. How was that?
That was a great time. We had a great turnout. Sold a lot of hats. Made some new friends. Saw some old friends. Appreciate that Inside Texas is much younger than it was when I got there 10 years ago. It was like God's waiting room when I first arrived there 15 years ago or so. We're a lot younger now. Now we missed some of the old guys that didn't make it. Don't get me wrong. The OGs were missed. But yeah, just a younger, more diverse. It was a fun crowd, good time. Turns out people like free barbecue and free beer.
Yeah, who would have thought, man? Coach, what do you think about the vibes?
Well, look, watching on TV is a bit different. I wish I could have been in Austin for that, man. But just getting some feedback, people loved it. Love the atmosphere, the crowd, just being in the magnitude of a game like that, man. They could feel the intensity, everything building. From college game day into kickoff, right? And so, man, I wish I could have been there for that one because I probably would have had butterflies and everything else.
Yeah. We hear all the negatives. What are some positives after rewatching the game? We'll get to that. It's mostly negative, but
no. I'll agree with that. I don't think it's mostly negative. We learned that they do have maybe the best defense in the country. I said earlier in the season I thought they had the best secondary in the country. We're going to come away feeling just as strong about those statements after that game. It's not all bad. There's silver linings for sure. But
I think Alfred Collins had a great game.
Yeah, Jermaine Lole played well. Couple missed tackles in the secondary, but a lot of good play too, man. Everybody's on the same page back there. They can win a national championship with this defense. We know that. So now the season's going to boil down to whether or not Sark, the problem solver, can problem solve the offense.
Yeah, what's interesting is statistically every year besides the first year, this defense has been better than Sarkisian's offense. So you'll constantly hear the national media, this is an offensive team. This team likes to take shots. That's actually not true. Quinn has the lowest deep share in the entire league. Yeah. So like all the stuff you hear about Sark, he throws deep and it's explosive firepower. That's all marketing. This is actually a defensive team statistically. Jade and Sorrell made themselves a lot of money Saturday.
Facts.
Absolutely. So I mean, that's the perfect game for Sorrell to bring his strengths to bear, like because his game is power and effort, motor, and he's a decent athlete, but not really the arc bending pass rusher. But you're not going to run on him. He's just very good at setting the edge. And then Jade, that's the game he needed. That's the game he came back for. We knew that the knock on him, we didn't agree with the knock on him was that he was corner or a nickel specific in the NFL. We didn't agree with that. We knew that the reason they moved him to nickel was because he was a corner, not because he couldn't play corner. I mean, now he's proven it. He's had a great game. I mean, he's had a great season, and that game just really cemented it that he's once he runs a 4.45, that's going to blow people away too. Which that's actually league average for NFL cornerbacks, but I think he's going to run it, and then he's got all the intangibles to go along with the game. So. Yeah, and Alfred Collins. So yeah, there's plenty of silver linings. It still took one on the chin. It's still a loss in the column, but they're positive and there's things to build on.
Yeah, I'm doing my rewatch and kind of charting like the more specific rewatch, not just the painful one. And yeah, Carson Beck, man, rough day for him. I have to see kind of how much was truly. Because, like, Texas had a rough day on offense, right? But Georgia had a huge part in why we had a rough day. So I have to see how much – because some of those passes, those receivers were just straight dropping as well. So it's like I need to see how much, like, really dive into how that all the details of that work.
A couple of those interceptions were highly athletic. You know, that Makuba one, the Barron one. Yeah, apparently they've been working the tip drill because those guys are coming down with the ball after you're not getting a clean catch on it the first time. So that's and you know, Trey Moore was in his face on that first interception. So he rushed him, got him off his spot, and he threw a bad ball. There were some good things to take away. It was a tough loss. It was just really hard. And, you know, you feel powerless looking up at the scoreboard and they're, you know, 0 for 9 or 0 for 10 on third downs. And you're like, oh my gosh, this has to change, right?
Well, after being one of the top third down teams in the country and facing a decent Michigan and OU defense, like the offense was the tested side. That's what was kind of frustrating.
Yeah, I know we talked about that too, Homer. Beginning of the season, like we were killing it on third downs. We were getting by on third and long, right? But we said, hey, it's not something you want to make a living off of either, right? And so a game like this, it comes back to bite you a little bit, not being able to convert on those third downs. That kind of hurt. I mean, so
yeah,
that was huge.
Morning, guys. I'm emotionally hungover from last Saturday. Well, that's better. Most people are just still literally hungover. Georgia's defensive line proved that speed beats big humans. Is it possible that our offensive line is overrated? The stats seem to suggest so.
Well, I mean, that was the first, by far the toughest test they had, and there was a lot of blitzing. You know, they didn't cover themselves in glory. The right side of the line struggled quite a bit more. My bigger issue with the offensive line is the lack of run game. I mean, they're going to, you know, teams are going to blitz. If they play them again and they blitz like that again, I think Sark will have counters. Obviously, I think Smart got the better of Sark from a coordinator standpoint. But the bigger issue that they have to figure out, and I'm sure we'll talk more about it, is they've got to run the ball better because, as Hummer was saying before we got on, the safeties were allowed to hang back too much. And when that happens, it's just a lot harder. When you're blitzing that with deeper coverage, and then the blitz is getting home, it's going to be very tough for any quarterback to make plays. Yeah. And then, of course, we saw Quinn had his issues, as Drew M over here says, mechanical regression. Yeah, that's part of it. When he is flustered, his mechanics break down. That's true. And he's not stepping up in the pocket like we saw versus Michigan, where he looked like a world beater. And that's a huge issue. So there's some mental things going on there. There's a lot of times there was a pocket and it looked like a sack on the offensive line, but Quinn didn't help him out.
We had 7 sacks, which is insane, but only 3 of those are actually attributed to the offensive line.
Yeah, so it didn't look as bad as you know, it's not as bad as it looked, but also they got to run the ball better, and that's a big issue.
Yeah, like one example, was it Walker where Kelvin Banks supposedly gave up the sack where he fell at Quinn's feet? Yeah. If you watch that, Banks had 4 seconds. He blocked for 4 seconds.
Right,
that's an NFL edge with an NFL against an NFL tackle with an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, that was not a lot.
You're going to get sacked 40 times a game in the league if you can't get it out in 4 seconds.
Not only did Quinn have time, he had time to step up into a clean pocket. Right. He could have scrambled, or he could have bought more time. And he could have gone underneath Williams, went out to the sideline, towards the sideline, and bought time, or he could have broke off and ran it for a small gain. But yeah, that was not on Kelvin Banks. It's, you know, there's a lot of people. I've seen some comments, especially on social media, that's just watching the box score. You know, the defense gave up 30 points. Give me a break, man. There's so much context to the game. Really, you could watch the thing 100 times and pick up something new every time.
Yeah, trust me, I am. It's a lot of fun. Brutal. Is it realistic to beat an elite defense without either a deep threat or a better run game? No.
I think you just saw that.
Yeah. That's been our issue, right? So what I was worried about eventually is that our run game would get shut down because we don't have a lot of vertical run game, right? We're having to do a lot of outside zone, a lot of finesse style running. And we've historically even never been a great run blocking team under Sark for whatever reason. I don't know why. But we don't get a lot of vertical push. And we're theoretically great at pass blocking. But that's the issue, is we're not able to really go forward vertically in whatever zone blocking or whatever it is. We're having to do kind of cute stuff and try to skirt around the defenses. And you see that's causing a problem. And if they're able to stop our run game consistently like they have from too high, like Eric said, then they get the best of both worlds, man. And
you're going to have issues on outside zone against the fast defense, which Georgia is obviously going to be the fastest defense they see all year. Well, most likely the fastest defense they see all year. So those longer developing outside runs are going to be tough against the fast defense.
Yeah, it'll work against less athletic people, but you saw Georgia, we're not dealing with less athletic people.
Nah.
I mean, I wasn't emotionally hungover until we started this live, man. Now I'm starting to think about how the Niners blew opportunities yesterday. The Texans lost. I mean, geez, good Lord. going to
Yeah.
start following women's volleyball at Texas. They seem to be back champs.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to find that elite team.
So
Last night I was watching horrific like geopolitical documentaries because that felt better than studying the Texas game. I was like, what's going on over here? This part of the world. I'm like, oh, that's sad.
Yeah. Connor's over here watching Faces of Death to cheer himself up.
Yeah, to try to avoid.
You have to wake up early to see your Patriots get beat by Jacksonville. So it was a double loss for me.
Yeah. How many Texas have? I think they had one, right?
Was it only one?
Yeah, I think.
I don't know. Danielson Williams, he got 2 last names over here. I like that. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's going to get rough, right? So who's going to be the first quarterback? It might be Mr. Heisman, Shedeur Sanders, huh, Charlie?
I mean, he's the one that showed us he can survive the fire, though.
Look, I'm glad Joe gave me a chance to kind of redeem myself and make another pick with the round table. But I mean, I saw a post this morning that said Cam Ward and Shedeur maybe the top 2 QBs in the draft class right now, and everybody else is a step below them. So I don't know. It's a lot of season to go, man. We'll see.
Yeah. There's a lot of studs in the younger ranks at quarterback, but next year it's going to be pretty rough. But yeah, like you said, there's a lot of season left to go. But some of these things that Beck and Quinn struggled with on Saturday, we're going to see on the draft tape throughout the entire spring.
Yeah.
I remember we were bragging about how many NFL draft scouts were in attendance for that game. I looked it up. We only had 1 sack. That was also what was disappointing.
This can't be real. Hold on. Go back to this one. No way, man. Reeling in panic. That's some hyperbole there, man. Maybe he's wondering, hey, what the hell's going on? This stuff isn't working. There could be some confusion there, but I don't think reeling in panic is what it was. He gave a really good halftime speech. I think they made some good adjustments at halftime as well. The team came out motivated. I think if he had gone in and he was panicked, they wouldn't have rallied in the second half like they, at least they gave themselves a chance to. They gave us some false hope there, but they played a lot better in the second half. I don't think Sark was panicking.
Yeah.
Or reeling.
Yeah. It's so I'm doing the rewatch. Man, it felt like do we got a mole, man? It felt like Georgia was so dialed in. It was remarkable, dude. On like exactly where they were simulating pressures and dropping people to. It was exactly where the ball was going. It was like there were so many of these that I was like, this is a brilliant
their scouting department and Kirby Smart, they did a fantastic job. And I didn't get tired. I didn't get tired of hearing that on Saturday night at all. Man, this is brand new. Haven't heard that one before.
They Keenan Womack, he had a good tweet. He said, if Texas is not SEC ready for losing to Georgia, then none of y'all are, because you've all lost.
That is a good tweet. That is.
So his whole point is the only one that's SEC ready is Alabama, because everybody has lost.
Yeah. Well, Alabama's got 2 SEC losses, so now it's it's a paradox.
We're just talking historically, the past 50 games, everyone lost to Georgia, so no one's SEC ready by their logic.
Hey, Homer, doing a rewatch. I watched a little bit of the tight bunch formation they ran. They added motion to it this one, but Oklahoma, they didn't have any motion to it, so they lined up in the same thing. They just motioned. And Georgia wasn't falling for the motion. It's like, hey, you're still running these same route concepts out of this bunch formation.
Well, they are.
You know what's coming, right? And so I thought, like Eric said, they got a good scouting department. They went and watched. They watched every game, probably some film from last year too, because I saw a little bit of the underneath where the tight end kind of leaks up under. We haven't ran that since last year with JT Sanders. We haven't run a ton of that. And so it's like they really did a good job of going and watch a couple of key games from last year and this year. And like, okay, we know what's coming out of this formation. The first time we ran it was versus Oklahoma. We brought it back this game and we added motion to it, but it was like, I know exactly what's coming.
But that's Sark's offense. And Sark will even say it in interviews. He's like, we're running the same stuff. The difference is, remember when he says pre-snap is almost important as post-snap. Yeah. All they're doing is changing the angles in which they're getting into the concepts or something like that, window dressing. But they're right. If you know the core concepts of the offense, and here's the thing, you almost have to purposely be dumb, right? Because Sark is using your intelligence. He wants you to react to this, react to that. What if you don't react? Yeah. And you just stay what you're doing? It's more difficult. Yep. So that's what I thought. Georgia was just like, we're going to act like we're not even paying attention to you. And it worked.
Yeah. Did you see the false pull by Hudson? They didn't even react to it. He threw the backside screen. They didn't even go with the pull of the guard. They're like, nope, not buying it. I got you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Yeah. It was almost just like, we're going to look very dumb. And it worked perfectly. No. Don't react to his emotions. It's interesting.
Hopefully they play again. It's going to be a really good chess match.
Yeah, it is.
Bama loses to Vandy. Sheesh, man. I've been breaking down Vandy since last Thursday because I look ahead, guys. And man, that's a fun offense, dude. And it pisses superior athletes off because it's like so ephemeral, right? Like you triple options, like you can't out athlete it. You're trying to squeeze so hard, you're only breaking your own hand, you know? And like it's and they talk a lot of mess, dude. Like they get like I thought that was just Malachi Moore that they got that game. No, dude. Like, and when they miss the DBs, when they miss the ball, they'll go up and point in receivers' faces. They had nothing to do with it. But like they're clearly like using psychological warfare too, and like the better athletes get furious.
Yeah. Well, the quarterback is more like a trash talking boxer,
dude. Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, he's a pre-fight trash talking boxer guy.
Yeah, and they've all taken on that personality, and like you can see, it starts to bother receivers, it bothers DBs, and then they start playing too aggressive, and then they get them. So a big part of this game is like psychologically not biting because Vandy will try to mess with you. I don't think everyone has played Georgia. Have the Abby ever played Georgia? Yeah, you're right.
No, Aggies have played them one time.
Yeah.
Remember the joke was Texas played them before A&M did because Texas played them in the Sugar Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think A&M had like a somewhat respectable loss. Of course, they're all respectable losses to them, but I think it was they've played them once.
Yeah. What is the name of the 5-star receiver? Jamie French?
Khalid Lockett.
Khalid Lockett?
Yeah. One of those. We have so many, it's hard to
yeah, right. Stable.
Awesome wide receiver class. I can't wait to see those guys.
Yeah, that was cool. They Jamie French, I just love all his interviews, man. That kid gets it.
Yeah, I think he's got some Ryan Wingo to him.
Yeah, he's gonna be balling. All right, before we keep going, guys, let's hear a word from Andre, the lawyer.
This video is brought to you by Andre, the lawyer. If you're injured, trust the team that secured millions for their clients and helped thousands of Texans with their injury case. Car wrecks, slip and falls, 18-wheeler accidents, on-the-job injuries, and wrongful deaths. Don't let insurance tell you what your claim is worth. Hire Andre the lawyer to fight for you. Principal office is in Dallas, but they serve Texans throughout the state. So don't wait and call Andre the lawyer today at 214-444-8808. That's 214-444-8808. The contact information is in the description.
Good stuff. All right, let's see.
So Andre came to the tailgate.
Oh, did he?
Nice.
Yeah.
Made sure no one slipped and fell. Or actually made sure people slipped and fell.
Yeah, it was IT's tailgate. I made him sign a waiver before he came in.
Yeah. He just signs things randomly as a lawyer. Do you think Quinn has a short leash now? It's clear Sark isn't married to him at this point.
Oh, look. He put him back in the game. He said it's his quarterback, man. I mean, we'll see as the season goes, as the games are played. He comes out and looks like Quinn we know he can be. Then I think all the comments and all the rumors, all that stuff goes away. So, man, it's up to Quinn.
I think it's a warning. I think it's a warning shot. I mean, it's clearly like he's saying, like, "Hey, you're not. I'll bench you." I mean, that's what it's a threat. You know, it's like he put him. I don't think now. Do I think going with Arch is smarter? No, but I think he's clearly kind of sending a message there. Why else would you do it?
Well, it seemed to work. His approach seemed to work. Quinn did come back and play better. Yeah, I don't know, man. Who knows? Let's just got to see how it plays out. We don't know how Quinn's going to play the next couple of weeks. What do they got? You got Vandy, then you bye week, and then you get Florida. Florida's playing better. Yeah, I don't know. Could be an interesting November.
Yeah, we needed this loss, to be honest. I mean, I'd prefer to not have it, but
like we wrote about in the morning, when you lose, players tend to take their mistakes more seriously and the coaching a little more seriously. If you win, they kind of go, well, we're still winning. It's kind of a bad way to look at it. It's sort of a results over process. It should always be process before results. But I think they're going to take better to coaching, and the mistakes that they had been making prior, they got punished more for it now than before. And I think they couldn't just out athlete their way around it. So when they met an equal opponent, athletically, size wise, they got slapped around, and they've got to play better. So I think I don't want to say they needed the loss. I kind of liked them being number one, but maybe they're going to be better for it down the road.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember, number 1 doesn't matter until you lose, and then you're like, damn, number 5.
Yeah.
But it is funny that the SEC, whoever loses, they're like, you're not going farther than 5.
Nope.
I know.
Right outside of the. It's funny how they're like,
and everybody
"You're
was
still-"
waiting for Penn State to get their loss because they'll be
know.
marching right back up. Ohio State and Oregon are going to play again, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I think Ohio State's going to get that win. So, yeah, Texas is right where they need to be, man. Still in control of their own destiny. They could still win the SEC. Georgia, they could theoretically play Georgia 2 more times, SEC championship game and in the playoffs. But Georgia still has Ole Miss, Tennessee. I was talking to a Georgia fan in Buc-ee's yesterday on the way home, and he said, Ole Miss, they might not be fired up for that game if they already feel like they're out of the SEC contention and therefore out of the playoff contention. They might not be fully bought in for that game. So we'll see. I think Ole Miss is still technically alive, but it's going to be interesting to see motivation for teams that are out of it in November.
Yeah. Any update on Makuba?
No, I didn't hear anything. Sark's comment was a little ominous. I think he said, they're going to assess it and see. So maybe, I don't know what the issue was there. We'll figure it out. If Sark doesn't add clarity today, I'll get somebody else on the phone and we'll go for it. Oh, come on. This isn't fair. Trey's better than Ovi, dude.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's better than Ovi.
Trey's a lot better than Ovi. But not getting any sacks is not going to help his cause. He got good pressure on that first pick. Pushed the tackle into. He plays with a good bull rush. He's given up a lot of pounds on that bull rush and still got him in this, got him on his heels a little bit, got him in Beck's way, Beck threw a pick. So it's one of those things doesn't show up in the score box, but he made a good play.
Yeah. I saw a clip of him getting chipped by the running back. Got spun around. He still got out the Beck and forced an incompletion, man. So, I mean, he's giving it his all. He just hasn't got the sack.
Hey, I'm perfectly fine with him coming back. If he doesn't have the production that he needs to leave, and right now it doesn't look like he does, and he wants to come back, Texas is a better team with him on it. And I think, we probably would have seen a lot more interesting stuff had Texas really gotten a lead on Georgia, because they clearly had Beck puzzled and panicked. He might have been reeling with panic, especially had they gotten a lead on him, because he was not looking ready for prime time. He got some good help from his defense. Texas Quinn got help from his defense too. He just didn't help out the defense.
Yeah, Beck had a rough one. Quinn's always played like that, guys. Those feet are 70% of his career. Yes, I don't know. Sometimes with Quinn, it's kind of like a mirage effect. Like, I'll hear this: I miss Michigan Quinn. Quinn to me has looked awesome when he has got to work all summer, knowing who he's Bama, Michigan. He seems to really show for those games, but Sark also makes the pictures so clear in those games. They're so scouted.
Yeah.
It's when it gets muddy, I don't see, Quinn for us averages like 2 touchdowns and 210 yards a game. That's not an elite category. That's not a quarterback taking over games. That's a quarterback executing an offense most of the time. I just wish we would get somebody that, it really felt like we're getting 3 or 4 touchdowns a game. But also this year's QB class is a little bit down anyways.
That one to Trey Wisner early in the game on that, what was that, double pass or whatever?
Yeah,
that was a reverse pass.
Yeah.
That was a bad throw. Trey still should have caught it, but that should have been a touchdown. Should have thrown it right, put it right where he can make a move upfield. And Wisner probably houses that. Those are throws you just have to complete. I mean, Wisner's got to do his job, but the ball, that's an easy pass for Quinn. I mean, that's as easy as it gets. He had time. You got to complete that. That's got to be a big play.
Yeah. True. Trey has a lot of plays that don't show up in the box score. Others have benefited from his play.
Yeah. Team game, man. Team football, right? He does his job. I say that, but we want to
see. And y'all listen to Nash on this stuff, because he sees these plays more than any fan.
Yeah.
Because he's having to make these videos. The coaches are seeing it more, but second is Nash.
Nash talks inside Texas. Nash is contributing to us over on IT now, so you should check out his channel on YouTube, but also check out his writing on IT.
Yeah, people are focusing on the box score, not watching the game with Trey Moore, and I agree with that. But also get sacks.
Yeah,
like you can. It's not either or. We do this thing of like, well, he's helping the game or not getting sacks. It's like, guys, you can help the game and get sacks. I mean, we
Right.
need
There's a huge. It's always binary with Texas fans. Guys are either good or terrible.
yeah, they're like we're not getting sacks, but we're getting pressures. It's like, yeah, get both.
That's how they
pressures
are.
into a sack.
That's how they are with the team too. They're either never going to lose or never going to win again.
Yeah.
It just depends on the latest game. But yeah, he's played well, but also you're right, get sacks.
Yeah. That's what the part that kind of bummed me out about our pass rush. Georgia has a really good offensive line. But I didn't think they were going to be able to do that. They were, and what is it? Cyril's who works for us, and then her dad. That must have been an awkward dinner after,
It's hey, I hopefully Dad took the chance to talk a little bit of trash. I know I would.
Yeah. But that's got to be so weird. You work for Texas, your dad works for Georgia, and you guys like can't talk about work around each other because you might be exposing something.
Yeah, he worked. That was the last time we had a decent. Last time Texas had a decent offensive line before Flood got there was that Searles line, I think, in 2013.
Yeah,
he's a good coach, man. He's been around the block.
Yeah,
true.
This is ridiculous right here, man.
$250K. Come on, Kirby Smart is slagging the refs post game and claiming that Texas tried to cheat. He doesn't get fined? ? Kirby saying that Texas is all bells and whistles. We need a rematch with Georgia.
Kirby tried to steal a little bit of Dan Lanning's speech. They're here for clicks and all this stuff, man. That's not
the Colorado. We're not here to take pictures. It's like you have Quavo. You have Quavo on the sideline and in your locker room. You're not here to take pictures.
It's all performative, but that $250K, they're like, it's Texas. They've got it in the couches of Moncrief. Let's take it from them. That fine is just ridiculous, man. I see college kids doing a whole lot dumber stuff than that. And also, there's no, how are the referees punished for the call? So you got this bureaucracy assessing accountability, but they never own any accountability. The referees totally screwed up that call. My saying is wrong first is wrong worst. If you do your stuff right, there won't be any problem, and that, they should have acted better. Sure. But without that outburst from the fans, that call doesn't get overturned. So now you just created a negative incentive structure by not getting it right the first time.
Yeah. It's Eric Machiavellian means to an end. We did what we had to do.
We needed those kids on the wall.
Yeah. It was, but $250K, I think Tennessee got $100K for their field storm. But it was funny to watch SEC clutching their pearls like this is the most moral conference that's known for being the kindest people. Also for Georgia to take moral superiority when they're running a jail in the locker room. It's like, come on, guys, we're not gonna do all that. Coach Top, where was Eric January 6th?
Hey, it's funny. One of those FBI agents that I guess it's I don't even know if they're really FBI agents, but my friends always send me that pic. They think one of them looks a lot like me. So they get brought up on January 6th a lot of time, but I was not there and I'm not an FBI agent.
Special teams isn't getting talked about enough. Multiple penalties, brought back a good return from Golden punts that went 30 yards. I agree. Yeah, we actually aren't talking about that enough.
No, we still talk about Bolden scaring me every punt return he gets. Man, he doesn't. He hasn't met a ball. He's not going to field. He doesn't care. It's close to the sideline. Has a chance to bounce an end zone. He's going to try to field it. Man, I was like, look, dude. Everybody complained though when we had somebody back there just making good decisions and not really returning the ball. Now I guess it's the opposite. So
yeah, we haven't been that good this year. We're like 40th or something in special teams. We're normally like top 5. So I don't really know what's going on there. Any word, Eric? Do you know why we have kind of a regression there?
Well, they lost some of their most important contributors, Keaton Crawford, Keelan Robinson, and then they had to pull Trey Wisner off, who was a key contributor because they can't afford to miss him at running back. But other than that, I don't know. That's Warren Roberson having some issues. That's that's not a super surprising thing. He's highly athletic, but you got to be as mentally engaged as physically engaged. So that's a little unfortunate, but Jeff Banks will get it right. But right now it's not the value add that it normally is.
Yeah. Coach talking about player safety, the same one with dozens of arrests and assault charges on pregnant girlfriends. Yeah, there's some irony there.
Yeah.
Because they're putting the whole damn town at risk. Street racing 24/7. It's like, come on, man. And I like Kirby, but I was like, don't take the moral high road here.
And that, yeah, he said, I didn't even know that was a violent push on the quarterback. It wasn't just like, oh, you bumped into him and you kind of got a little defensive. He actively pushed the guy with force. He's lucky the kid just didn't.
He was confused. Van Buren was like, what?
Hey, the player would have been well within his right to push him back. And that's, that's another one of those wrong first, wrong worst examples. Did he get fined for that? He had to have been fined for that.
I don't know.
Right?
He did apologize. I know that.
Who cares? Anybody can apologize.
Yeah. Do you think we see more Jarrett Gibson as the season winds down?
This season is not winding down. Come on, we got a lot of ball left. Yeah, probably.
What's going on there? Just not assignment sound, or
I don't know if he's 100% healthy or not. I didn't dive into that one as hard as I should have last year. So I'll get on Makuba and Gibson today and try to get an update.
Yeah. Texas fan or Texas homer, Miss Young Fanatic perspective. Yeah, I'm always down to go on Steven's channels.
And he's more than welcome to come on here.
Yeah, Texas fans are crybabies. What we're pointing out is that the Georgia head coach was being a crybaby all post game about they tried to steal it from. Look what we've done. We have 50 wins in national championships. We're so bullied.
Every fan base has crybabies.
Every single one.
Kirby was talking to Jade for a good minute in between one of the plays he made.
Probably trying to get him in the portal. No,
I was gonna say, yeah.
He doesn't have any eligibility left. Yeah, I don't know. Who knows?
Yeah. I thought Jade did. Do you see Jade's post game? His maturity, man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He was dodged all the questions about them trying to, blame the offense, and he knows.
Yeah, there's good leadership in there. There was, there's always a little bit of trash talking after a loss. People are frustrated, but there's no real finger pointing offense versus defense. They're sticking together. Good day of practice Sunday, or not good day of practice, but good day of watching film and being around each other on Sunday. I think they're in a good spot. This is a really interesting game for the situation that they're in.
This is not the team you want to face when you're like questioning if we can bounce back.
Vanderbilt's not going to beat themselves.
Yeah,
got to get on the road. But I like that Vanderbilt came in ranked, right? They're
25th, man. After playing Ball State too.
Yeah, and only beating Ball State by 10, but they beat Kentucky the week prior. That's a real win.
Yeah, but they're getting that SEC bump to get ranked after Ball State. Shouts out SEC.
Yeah, now it's a top 25 matchup on the SEC network next Saturday, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Man, defensively, they're still what you would think of Vanderbilt. They're not good, but on the offense, man. And the weirdest part, they're not a good rushing offense. Like statistically, they don't get a lot of yards. It does not matter, dude. They 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, 3 yards, and it's just like Pavia is smart. Like they know that offense so well, man. They're gonna frustrate every defense because you think you got them dead to rights, and you don't. I promise you don't.
Yeah, and that's what the triple option is, right? It's like dive, and then they hit you for a big one. It's like, gosh, I had this bottled up all day. How'd they even break it? Then they add some wrinkle to it. They throw it to the flat.
And the lowest passing teams, like they rarely pass in the hundreds, but they're 10th in yards per pass when they do pass. So like when they pass, they make you pay, dude.
They make you pay.
Yeah, got to have good eye discipline this week. So here, the problem with this statement here is that they're not reacting to the game versus just Georgia. They're reacting to how he looked last week versus OU and how he's looked historically at certain times where the mechanics break down, not stepping up into the pocket. So this is not just about Georgia. This is about, his last week and seasons past. This is kind of who he is at this point, at least apparently. Yeah.
Well, and here's too, like the best Georgia defense athletically when they're on fire like that. But the previous games for Georgia, that defense has not been the best defense in college football. Mississippi State was throwing all over them. Even Georgia fans will tell you they were questioning what is this team coming into this game. So this idea that this is like Georgia from 2021 and 2022, not at all true.
One thing
they came out and played on fire versus us, though.
One thing that concerned me last week when I broke down his press conference and wrote an article on it, Kirby Smarts, he said, Texas is a lot more like us, whereas Mississippi State's just going to try to run right by you. And I'm thinking, uh-oh. And they're saying if they're a lot like us, then that means he's going to have a much better handle on it. There's players are going to have a much better handle on it. And boy, did they.
Yeah. So they're like Georgia defense, apparently when they're playing at their ceiling are some scary dudes, but they've had issues playing at that ceiling. And here's the thing with Georgia. If Georgia sleepwalks like that with Beck again, Georgia can easily take another L if they're not paying attention, So I'm not giving Georgia juggernaut status this season like they've had in previous.
Yeah, and I'm not really buying this either. Texas was an accessory in their win. Texas beat themselves a lot of times. Credit to Georgia for forcing the mistakes, but Texas did not play well on offense. So you can't say no team was beating Georgia that night. Texas didn't play. If Texas had played well and still lost, then maybe we could say that.
Yeah. I mean, I think Georgia beat us on defense, but also I think Quinn, like we said, there were 7 sacks, but 4 of those were on Quinn. So it's like if Quinn would have just not gotten shook, and Georgia shook him. Don't get me wrong, we're not taking credit there. But if we would have had like mentally steady quarterback play, it would have been more. We would have been far more relevant in the first half. That's all I can say there. All right. I don't think that Georgia played in Austin ever showed up. I don't think the Georgia that played in Austin ever showed up so far this season. Correct.
Yeah. Michael Williams finally healthy too. That helps, right?
Yeah. We had multiple plays that we could have come back in the game with. Yep. Could have, should have, would have. And that's also what it feels like when you're getting beat. It's like there's very rarely where you're like, there wasn't a play on the field I could have made. It's like that's what losing feels like. You're like frustrated, Michael and Jalen are elite. Starks is elite. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I remember because I posted a tweet saying that Michael was really good and I didn't want to see him at full form. And then everyone called me soft on the thread 50 times, and they were all completely wrong. So I got to go back and give him some. I got to go back and be petty because everyone was like, I ain't worried about him. Everybody, it's like, you're not Kelvin Banks. You're not blocking. Why are you talking on behalf of him? And but yeah, that was crazy, man. I'm sorry on that play. Georgia did a double mug blitz and Wingo was open. Get Quinn throws the ball off his back foot and the ball goes in the dirt. Was about as bad as we've seen in a long time. Georgia was doing some cool stuff, man, with their stems. Like they were doing some cool stuff.
It was perfectly timed and synchronized. Not that one that he's talking about. It's just like, oh man, you had to just kind of tip your cap to the beauty of it.
Oh, dude, Kirby or Schumann, right? I don't know if Kirby's like actively doing the defense anymore, but who's doing it, man. They looked psychic on some plays. I was shocked. Like they were dropping, like when even that third down where they clouded the corner and Quinn almost threw that pick, like right at the line. It's like, man, they know our offense. They've been studying that offense in the offseason. That wasn't a week of prep, dude. That was impressive. I also think Bobo has kind of similar styles, so it's interesting. But man, yeah, they look. Sark got beat up straight up on the headsets. He got beat. Georgia's getting healthy. Georgia's not been full strength. Yeah, and the worst part is Georgia didn't even have their Mondin. They didn't even have that linebacker. So it's like they have been hurt. And they're still down some guys, but sheesh. Is Sark's offense too finesse? I feel like sometimes we just need to try and bully the teams, but we never do.
I think we could. I think Eric talked about it earlier. Like we've not been consistently being able to run the ball and bully people. So I don't think his offense is finesse. It's just like you got to execute and move people off the ball.
It's not finesse by his intent at all. He wants to be powerful up front. That's the whole basis of inside zone. It's just it's not going to come to bear against a good front unless you're getting your blocks.
Well, there's also some realities, right? Like if coaches aren't running stuff, guys, it's probably not because they want to lose. It's probably because they know that we're stronger at running something else, right? So if you're seeing a lot of outside zone, of every coach, there's not an offensive line coach that doesn't want to run inside zone. Their entire ego is tied to inside zone, But if we're not running it a lot, there's probably a reason. They're seeing something in practice that they're not liking. And like I said, we've never been a great run team. We've always been pass blockers. Bendis should have started. Love our young linebackers, though. I didn't pay attention to Leonga. When I'm doing my rewatch, though, I'll check it out. Did you see that play where Hill tried to hurdle a blocker? I'll show it to you guys. He runs full speed and sprints and like tries to jump over. The guy's standing straight up. It's a crazy play. It was so silly. It was just that's where I was like, man, this is a young player.
Yeah, no. I saw LaFleur flying over the field though, chasing dudes down from behind. I think ETN probably scores if he doesn't chase him on or the receiver on the little quick screen. If LaFleur doesn't fly from the other side of the field to get him, he probably scores. So he was out there flying around, man, making plays.
Yeah, he flashes. ETN had a damn good game. Before we keep going, guys, let's hear from Laura Baker.
Hi, I want to tell you about Laura Baker. If you're looking for a new home in the 512 or even at this point, let's face it, 737 area code, there's only one number to call. That's Laura Baker at 512-784-0505. As a member of the elite Andy Allen team with Keller Williams, Laura has helped Longhorns find the home of their dreams in Central Texas. Just ask our resident sex symbol, Ian Boyd, who moved all the way from Michigan to Texas with Laura's help. Laura can help you find what you're looking for in the 512, the 737, or even parts of the 254 and the 210. Just, give her a call at 512-784-0505. Her email is in the description as well as the rest of her contact details. She's a friend. Give her a call.
All right. Let's see with some comments. We got the Lando showing here too.
Quit giving us money, Landon.
Kieran, well, it recycles. Talked to Kieran, and he made a great point. 2020 OU did the same thing with Rattler and Mordecai. Warning shots can be very effective. That's what I think it is. It's just like hey, And somebody tweeted too. They said, hey, if we're at the point where your third-year NFL quarterback needs to be benched in a big game so he can get his mind right and then bring him back out, that's not a good spot to be in. That's what's frustrating. I see that with the first year, but third year we got to sit you versus Georgia because you're seeing ghosts is pretty frustrating.
Hey, that warning shot turned into reality the next year with Cam Williams for him too.
Yeah.
What's Spencer Rattler doing now?
He was playing, right?
Yeah, he played for the Saints.
Exactly.
He started last week on the
playing in the NFL, right? So let's, I'm making a point here. And yeah, I mean, he's not setting the world on fire, but he's still an NFL quarterback. Quinn's still going to be an NFL quarterback. Not a finished product.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not saying Quinn is not going to the NFL.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, I don't know. I don't like giving up on players.
I'm saying there.
We've officially given up on him. Bring in Trey Owen. Oh, Arch too. We have to give up on Arch too when he brought him in. So now we're down to Trey, dude. What I love about Texas fans is our how we handle quarterback battles very maturely. That's one thing.
It hasn't been as bad as I expected, honestly.
It honestly wasn't, dude. People have not gone at each other. As bad as I think the loss is, realistically, we're 3 to 4 plays away from changing the entire outlook of this game.
It's always though. A loss, the film doesn't look as bad as you think. Trust me. And when you win, it doesn't look as good as you think. So it's always that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Wisner play could have been a big one for the way that game could have gone early on, but them's the breaks. Remember Jake Smith dropping that easy long touchdown against TCU was it 2020? Same play. The Texas probably wins versus TCU that year. Instead, they lose. Tom Herman is on the downward slide. Was it 2020? Yeah, 2020.
It is crazy how those little things just cascade.
Little things, yeah. It changes the complexion of it. It's like, watch playoff baseball. One bad call by the umpire changes an at-bat. That at-bat could change the inning. The inning could change the game. The game could change the series.
Yeah. The series can change the world. Where was the power running from Gibson? Like we saw against Michigan, you can't go side to side against a team like Georgia. We don't know what's going on with Gibson there, but I do agree. Where is the vertical run game? But also we might, Wisner's not known for being a vertical back. Blue's not known for being so there might be some personnel realities here. I think we're missing Cedric Baxter's size, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you need that power element. They're going to have to go find that in the portal and still hope that Baxter comes back healthy.
We are battered as Texas fans, so one loss sends us into a downward spiral.
Yep, never going to win again. And then if they beat Vanderbilt, probably going to win the national championship. That's just how it is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's called being fans. That's how it goes. And that night I felt frustrated, but the more I've watched it, you're like you guys are saying, it's a little bit of cope to be like, we were close. We weren't that close, but it's like, it's still not as, like Charlie said, it's not as bad as we thought. And I think for Quinn too, I think that'll wake him up, and I think he'll be sharper.
It was disappointing, but I don't, I like sports because more often than not, the team that deserves to win does win. And I'm fine with that. Get better, beat them next time.
Yeah. How does this affect recruiting? So that's a good point. Charlie got to talk to, man, we had a bunch of kids there, man. Yeah. So what's kind of the latest? And also, do the fan disclaimer that it's not all doom and gloom and they have not all decommitted because we lost.
Yeah, man, look, and I wrote about this, like a loss not a loss. It's a lesson I think this team can learn from it, but a lot of recruits learned a lot. They learned that Texas is right there with Georgia. They didn't come away from their game saying, oh, Georgia's just like years ahead of Texas. Texas is on the rise. We had a couple kids, a big name kid, 2026 kids say, hey, Georgia may be dominant, but Texas is building for the future, and I can see the vision, right? And a lot of positivity came from a lot of recruits after the game, and they can see themselves playing for Texas, playing in games like that. I think that's the vision that Texas sold. You want to come to Texas, you want to play versus a top 5 team in Georgia and compete. And me and Justin, the week leading up to the game, getting a lot of score predictions from kids. They all picked Texas to win. So they got some emotional ties to Texas. They're fans of the team. They want to see Texas do good. So they can see themselves being a part of that. And so just talking to, get some feedback from kids, man, they didn't go away. It wasn't anything negative about how Texas played or anything like that. They saw a battle between top 5 teams, and they want to be a part of that. And they want to be a part of the future with Texas, and so getting that feedback was huge. Wasn't anything negative whatsoever, especially if it affected the 26 and 27 kids, the younger kids more than 25 kids, right? Because they're next up, they're the next cycle, and they can see the vision that they're being sold on each and every day when they talk to coaches. And so there's a lot of positivity, man, a lot of positivity.
Yeah, they understand sports. They're on teams that lose. They know losing is part of sports. They know you got to go back and grind harder. That's just part of it. But they're looking at the entire package. They want to play in that atmosphere. They want to play in games like that. The school has a lot of things that basically sells itself. Everybody knows Texas is on the rise, and this isn't about next year either. This is about this year. They're still on the rise this year if they bounce back like they should.
Yeah, and that's what I was talking about too. Selling the fight, right? Like they notice that you're on game day. It's different when you're playing G5. And you have 30 people in the stand. They're paying attention to what's going on off the field. Yep. Do they have a chance to showcase? And if you have game day all day and everybody talking about it and a good dance partner like Georgia, they're seeing what you can max out. Was it Riley Pettijohn in the article that said that he didn't know Texas got that loud or something?
Yeah, Riley said he didn't know Texas got that loud. And him and his family, they enjoyed the visit, right? Just like, man, this atmosphere is like crazy. I didn't expect it. He's been on campus a few times, but like seeing the game day atmosphere like that is like, wow, okay, it gets wild around here in Austin, man. They loved it, and a lot of kids had the same sentiment as him. So like speaking of like John Turntine, top tackle in 2026. Loved every bit of the visit, but y'all got to come to IT and read this, man. Like, come check us out. We got some good stuff going on and a lot of recruit reactions.
Yeah, I'm excited. Is Texas getting Justin Terry? I think he's talking about Justice Terry.
I love it. I love it when the hardcore recruiting fan, we got to get this guy or it's never going to, the program's going to cease to exist, but the name is spelled wrong. It's like, that he's that important, but, still got the name spelled wrong. Justice Terry. I mean, I would still go with Georgia. From Georgia. You just watch Georgia. If the kid was from California and you're like, I'm not going all the way to Georgia. Texas is nice in the middle, right there in the middle of the country for me. They'll keep shooting at it. They got at some point Georgia's going to have to fill up. They've got 3 guys committed. One actually rated more highly than Justice Terry, barely because they're close. But Texas has playing opportunity. He knows that. He sees all those guys making plays at D tackle this season. Vernon didn't have his best game of the year, but he knows those guys are all gone. So there's playing time. But come on, everybody knows the deal on these defensive tackles and 5-star players in general. NIL is going to play a factor. So. We'll see. I think the visit went well for him. It checked some boxes. I think a win would have been more important for a kid like him than the kids that are, from in-state. But we'll see how it goes. December 4th, it'll be here, 6 weeks? It's going to be a wild November, but they got to keep winning. They got to get back to winning, then they got to keep winning.
Yeah. Texas is not in Georgia's league. Stop it. We made the playoffs last year. Y'all did not. You guys had
last year.
Yeah, and you guys have 2 more 5-stars than us, 2. So the talent gap is not what you think it is either.
No.
So, and we just sold out 105 cap, game day all day, makes a lot of money at this school. We're absolutely in that league, man.
Just
It's crazy, man.
The transitive property.
You know your stats off the field
let's
too.
Do the transitive property with this guy. It seems like Vanderbilt is actually better than Georgia.
Yeah, that's true.
Vanderbilt beat Alabama.
They beat them.
Yeah.
So
Alabama. So I'm not sure you're in Vandy's league.
Yeah, crazy, man. Also, pay attention off the field, man. There's more than just what occurs on the field. Texas is, if not number 1 in the league.
Yeah, we need to sneak in some driver safety manuals in their playbooks.
Texas didn't quit and kept fighting even after a bad first half, 23-15 in third quarter, with Georgia buried deep in their end, and they went 89 yards to burst the bubble. So that's what I thought was the most impressive drive to me.
Yeah.
When they just closed the door and like in 2 plays, I was like, there it is. Because
is that 3rd and 10, right? 3rd and 10 conversion,
yeah.
and it's that game gets a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, so I thought they did a great job to shutting the door right there.
Yeah, they made the plays when they needed to. Credit to them. They earned that victory without a doubt. So nothing. All you can do is tip your cap. That's what I love sports, man. When you lose and you deserve to lose, then that's the way it should play out on the scoreboard.
Right.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was nice to see some fight, but it was that kind of painful hope. We're like, don't do this. Don't bring it back. See, and everyone's just roasting Georgia. I don't need to throw that up on.
Do they get arrested or?
I don't think so. Yeah.
They. But yeah, the y'all aren't ready for the SEC comments are what cracks me up, because it's impossible, right? You beat Georgia, everybody would be silent. They just wait for you to lose at that point. There's no winning here. Texas exists in this ephemeral plane of like. I said it on the Sunday night thing. Like we're the boring, unengaged wine and cheese. We're also the trashy losers that throw bottles. Both of these ideas can't be held at the same time, yet they somehow are. Texas it's impossible. Texas can do no right in the fanscape. It's pretty remarkable.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah. Kirby's been building for 9 years. Sark for 3. Say no more. Yeah. That was it was impressive. I mean,
I don't know.
I'm not going to knock Kirby's program as far as like one thing. I'm not going to talk crazy and be like, Kirby's not a good Kirby's been an excellent coach, man. And they showed up. They had our number. They had our number on the headsets. They showed up on fire, ready to play on defense. I mean, they answered the bell.
Yeah, their defense overcame some really big mistakes by the quarterback. They did. They earned it, man.
Yeah. So I'm not going to take away from Georgia's performance. They did great, but to act like Texas is not even close to that talent-wise is incorrect, just factually wrong. The depth Georgia had due to high-level recruiting and the defensive line showed up. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And to get Michael back in the mix, Walker, I mean, them boys were terrorizing us.
Yeah. I didn't see that game coming from Walker. I had not seen that previously. Like, man, where did this guy come from? He primarily lines up at linebacker, so to use him off the edge.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it took something out of PK's playbook, like we used Anthony Hill. Who knows?
Yeah, they did. They were awesome. So yeah, I'm not going to say that they didn't kill it. But going forward, what did we? You said in the locker room that we're doing all right. Hopefully, we have a good week of practice, right?
Yeah. I mean, Sark's got to figure out the offense, and he gets his 3rd defensive-minded head coach in a row with Clark Lee. Clark Lee had a great run at Notre Dame, defensive coordinator there, and he's got them on the right path. So he's going to have, they won't have the athletes to stay with Texas ideally, but they shouldn't be able to get the pressure that we've seen. But we'll see. They'll be ready. They'll have a good game plan. Texas has to be ready to fix these issues and figure it out. No, there was no player-only meeting. I almost wrote that there was a player-only meeting to start off my piece just to give some people
freak everyone out.
Yeah, but I didn't. No, I didn't do it. The leadership on the team definitely, it's definitely walking around encouraging everybody. The coaches as well. They're fine. They're fine. Losing happens. Got to get better this week though.
Yeah, I'd be much more worried if they were like, it's over, guys. It's done. We're exposed. Like the video. Yeah, he's correct.
Yes.
Subscribe to the channel.
Please do.
Jaden Blue on the angle, a.k.a. Texas Route is indefensible. Sark got to call that at least once per game. Yeah.
He actually did call it again. Just that he had too much pressure. He wasn't able to get it to him when he's getting ready to make his move. So he actually did go back to it.
Yeah. That's 2 games in a row. We're changing coverages on defense. Confuses Quinn or makes him hesitant. That's what I'm concerned about. So interesting. When we were watching Oklahoma, I was like, no, they weren't confusing him. But then after this game, I was like, maybe they were confusing him. So I don't know what's going on. But it's not like he's never seen. He's like, whoa, they shifted coverage. I've never seen that before. Because really, the shifting coverage is not that tricky. If a safety's here and moves here, if they're switching from something too high, then they're switching to 1 high. You don't switch from 2 high to 2 high. So it's just the inverse of whatever the original look was. So it's not that crazy deep switching coverages. I think when they switch coverages and he's freaked out of the pass rush, that's the combo that gets him. But if you're sitting back or whatever, I think he can dissect it pretty well. Let's see. 150 watching, 30 likes. Come on, guys.
Yeah, we got 2,400 on Twitter watching. Hi, Twitter or X, whatever that goes by.
Yeah, and then on X, but I guess like the post on X to the other 2,400 that are watching.
Yeah, go retweet it.
Yeah, is yours NFL ready? Yes. Yeah, I mean, is NFL arm ready? I don't know what ready means. Is he going to go win the playoffs right now? No. Does he need an offensive line in front of him? Yes, but
yeah. Everybody
his arm is NFL ready, but clearly pocket command has to improve. But if the question is he going to get drafted? Yes.
Quarterback play in the NFL boils down to where you get drafted.
It really does. It really does, man. I'd rather be a first or a late first rounder than an early first rounder.
Yeah, look at had Jordan Love gone like 3 overall to a bad franchise, would he even still be in the league? I have no idea, because he had plenty of time. He's a credible starter in Green Bay. It's all about where you go. Brock Purdy, if he goes to pretty much any other team, I'm not sure how long, what kind of player he is. So it's all about luck, time, and circumstance. Archie Manning could have been an all-time great, but he went to the Aints, at the worst time in the world to go to the Aints.
Yeah.
So a lot of it matters who drafts you, who develops you, the general manager that puts the pieces around you.
And that's why Eli wasn't. They said nope on Eli's early draft because they
blocked San Diego, and then Philip Rivers had a fantastic career. But it's a lot about where you go.
Yeah. What about the deep balls? Here's the reality too. Quinn's never been a good deep ball thrower. What we keep mistaking as deep balls from Quinn are intermediate throws. They like get yaks. He's never been a good deep ball thrower, but it was especially bad the other night. We were just kind of drawing DPIs, but he throws the ball deep 10% in the SEC. It's the lowest in the league. This is not a deep shot offense with Quinn as quarterback. Arch comes in, he says YOLO. It turns into a deep shot offense. But really, Quinn's strength is hitting somebody over the middle of the field in that 15-yard range, and then they run another 15 yards, and we call that a deep shot. But this is not actually a deep shot offense, and Quinn's not a good deep ball thrower statistically for the past 3 years. All right. If Arch came in, hypothetical, took us down the field for a TD, do you think he stays in for the second half? Yeah, probably.
Maybe so. Yeah. He would have provided the spark that Clark was looking for. So I couldn't see him going back away from that.
Yeah.
But who knows, huh?
Yeah. Any more questions, guys? We're not going to beat up on Quinn anymore. He had a bad game.
Oh, man.
He's got to bounce back. It is what it is. Everybody knows what's up with it. But we kind of beating the dead horse on the Quinn thing. Bad game, bad games. But we're also on the flip side, we're not going to see that inspired of a defensive line and not that talented of a defensive line either until playoffs or whatever. So the tricky part is we're not really going to be able to answer this question, right? Like, we don't face that level of talent and we look a lot better through the rest of the season. Did we solve that problem? I don't know.
It's better to see it now than to find it, go walking into College Station. They've got a good defensive line, or, in the playoffs, you got to know your weaknesses in advance. So there's a silver lining.
Yeah. Any last things? We may never see a defense play to that level all year long. Yeah, definitely until later on. I mean, A&M might play with their hair on fire too, but they don't have the pure talent
at all.
They A&M's got some dudes, don't get me wrong, but compared to Georgia's NFL talent, not the same.
We're going to see a defense like that again if they make the playoffs, right? If they run into Ohio State's got dudes. Maybe they see Georgia again in the SEC championship. They got to keep winning to get there now. Like I said, A&M's got it. That environment in College Station is going to be bonkers. That's going to be tough on the offense, and then they got D-line at the same time. So, we now know that they've got plenty of work to do.
Yeah, but also, guys, this team on the road, I don't know what it is. We don't play as well at home. Like, we're psychologically a stronger road team. It makes no sense, but I would have preferred – this sounds nuts. I would have preferred to play Georgia at Georgia with how we've been on the road against
that
teams.
Does sound nuts, but maybe it goes into that John Wick mentality.
Yeah, there's something to it, man, because I go back to TCU also, you know. It seems like one of the big things we don't really deliver at home. I don't know why that is. But I actually think and we can prove that we're awesome on the road.
And we just had a segment on that, buddy, and we got a lot of articles up on it as well. You might have just missed it, but everything, recruits extremely positive after the game. They don't live and die with losses like fans do.
Yeah, to them it's like a bad day at work. To us, it's like the end of the world. But it's just like, all right, we'll go back to work. Y'all in Inside Texas, give my awesome kids some love. Jade, Andrew, and Michael in the secondary. Yeah. We got a little Central Texas crew that's
well, we talk about those three all the time, man. Taff had a couple missed tackles, but still 7 solo tackles. That's a lot for a safety.
It is.
Yeah,
I love seeing him coming downhill and meet ETN though. I love that.
He's 10 pounds away from being a good NFL player. He's going to be on an NFL roster for a long time, no matter what, just because of special teams value add and knowing the playbook and the low maintenance player to have on the roster. But if he gains 10 more pounds, he is going to be good in the NFL.
You heard it here. Taff, shout out Taff. But yeah, I was really impressed with the secondary. They were the ones that we were questioning too. They haven't been tested. They're the ones that are like, all right, we'll see about that. All right. Good stuff, guys. Any final questions? Constructive questions? Not we stuck in the world is ending questions. But if not, guys, we can roll out. Rough game, man, but whatever, man. It's the SEC, everyone having one loss. It's hard as a Texas fan to zoom out there, but just like as a fan of CFB, that's cool, man. To have like the SEC this wide open and this many like talented teams, and no one's perfect. Everyone has like a weakness and a strength, and matchups make fights. So that's going to be really interesting. So that's my cope on why I feel that parity is good now that we lost. All right, y'all. Thanks for hanging out. Coach Dub, Eric, fans, have a good one. Peace.